Hello, and welcome to a textural episode of the Drywall Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Harmon. With us today, Chad Hesser of Hesser Drywall joins us once again from Newton, Illinois. Chad joined us a little over 2 years ago on episode 11, and now he's back to talk some Fresco Harmony, custom colors, and how to sell Fresco Harmony. But we also talk a little bit about the Surry project and why he's currently so busy.
Put me out there a little more because I was kind of taking on some of his overload, doing some stuff he couldn't get to. And then little by little, I was getting noticed out there too. And then, of course, we just kept talking about everything that's going on like in our area because we were, basically 2 out of 4 finishers at the time that was decent. But now there's like only 3 of us. So the 3 of us all kind of work together and try to keep everything in our little circle. And at the same time, too, it helped us keep the market value up, too. Because we've had a few people come in, it's like 30, 40 cents a square foot less for finishing. We're just like, no, I was like, we're not doing this. So we just draw them in. So I've recently done that. I drew another one in and it's like, hey, just keep raising your prices, man. It's like, we're all doing it. We're all busy.
Chad and I have been friends for a long time, and I always appreciate speaking with him and getting his feedback on all aspects of the drywall finishing trade. The Drywall Podcast in the month of March was brought to you by our friends in England at GWI. Established in 2021, GWI is the UK's fastest growing independent drywall finishing supply store, supplying and finishing products and taping tools to tradespeople nationwide, holding brands such as WonderTex, Panel Ray Level 5, and of course, Fresco Harmony. They supply it, you apply it. You can find GWI online at www.gwiltd.com or by visiting the store in Swindon. They are open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you are a business out there and are interested in sponsoring the Drywall Podcast, you can reach out to me directly, info@frescoharmony.com. But for now, Chad Hesser on the 89th episode of the Drywall Podcast. Let's get into it. Ooh, that's nice. Look at that beautiful work behind you.
Yeah, just taping decks.
I'm a little jealous. I miss running the fucking bazooka, man.
Yeah. Not today. My brake broke off, so my wheel's free spinning the whole time, so I got to constantly crank on it.
Oh, lame. That's kind of lame.
Yeah.
Bazookas are like that, though.
Yep, I had a spare part, but it didn't fit.
Time to bust out the slot box, buddy. Have you tried doing the slot? have you tried that?
No, I haven't.
The more I talk to people about it, the more it just seems like if you had one of those super tapers.
Yeah, Gilbert's do that. So maybe
reel
we'll
out,
just see it
reel out a box of that shit and throw it up, man.
Wave my magic wand.
I'll bet you it's fast.
Yeah, seems like it. I've always just known a bazooka, so I tried a banjo a couple times. Not me.
We've got Chad Hesser Drywall, Newton, Illinois, once again on the Drywall Podcast. How exciting. In the middle of the day.
Yep.
Middle of the day in Newton. I've been dealing with this ice bath I got, dude. It's a bath and a chiller. I have one that I do, but then I bought this one that's for hot. It's like just a giant tub, and this unit heats it and cools it. But it was kind of pricey, and I got it, and it doesn't work. And the pump's sucking air, so the pump doesn't stay primed. The unit, and dude, I did everything, and these guys, it's like I just got off the phone with him. He's finally gonna supposedly send me. I was gonna drive it up because they're out of Salem, Oregon. I was gonna drive it up there and be like, dude, he's like, well, that sounds fine, but we're not getting new chillers in until the middle of April. I'm like, dude, just give me the damn thing so I can use it. But that's neither here nor there. Chad reached out to me. We've done some projects together. A little background. So, little history on Chad. Chad came down to Albuquerque to do a training 5 years ago.
Yeah, 5 years ago.
Five
About
years
this time
ago.
in 19, yeah.
About this time. Yeah, that was a cool project. They did oversized trim text bullnose.
Yeah, that was a nice house.
They did some cool stuff. Yeah, he had like all kinds of solar and the house was just dialed. It was really cool. But they wanted plaster. He found out about me, whatever. We ended up doing Fresco Harmony on the whole thing. You came down and did like the master. I threw you in the master closet. It's like,
Yeah.
if he screws it up, we'll just paint it, Chad ended up going back to Newton and selling Fresco Harmony. It wasn't always an easy route, though. It took a while. It takes a while to build up sort of the Fresco Harmony muscle, but once sort of people start finding out about it, then you become like the specialty wall finish person in your area. Chad then took interest in other plaster forms, Portillo, I think it's called, Portola, and you've done a couple plaster classes, and so you've sort of fleshed out your plaster knowledge in that capacity, all the while doing drywall and finishing in Newton, Illinois. Sean and Cam, you invited those guys over to take part in a project at the Hollywood that got we had a lot of fun. I came up and surprised those guys, and then we did you did a lot of Galtiero steel on that project. It was a lot of fun, and it was part of the inspiration for moving forward with these Fresco Harmony sort of adventures. You wanted to come on and talk about your experience since then with Fresco Harmony, and maybe some other stuff. I don't know. What are we going to talk about?
See where it goes.
We'll just see where it goes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, since we done the Hollywood, I won't say I've done a lot of Fresco, but it started to definitely gain more traction around here. But I'm actually doing one right now. I'm going to finish it up tomorrow night.
You've done quite a bit. I mean, of the people that have done Fresco Harmony, what would you say is why you're getting these jobs? What do you do that's different than maybe somebody that says, I can't sell it in my area?
Really, for the most part, I will say it's just kind of luck of the draw. But then every once in a while, when I do get to sit down with the homeowners or even some contractors before a project gets started, I can start kind of, put my foot in the door and explain like what it is and how it works. I know, especially on remodels, it comes in extremely handy because you explain how, with all say like when you take out walls, you got all these weird wall patches and they never come out nice and flat.
Right.
But and we've had some ceilings that people wanted the old sand texture, smooth out. So obviously we'd have to skim it out in mud, sand it, skim it again, sand it again. Just a huge mess, a big waste of time. So a few of them I'm actually sold, just say, hey, just let me do Fresco Harmony and we don't have to sand anything. You don't have a mess in your house. And guess what? You don't have to paint it either. And
you don't have to paint.
Yeah, that's usually a pretty easy sell there. But
yeah, those ceilings, I'm biased, of course, but the ceilings are gorgeous, right?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Smoking. Yeah. So it's kind of, to me, it's a no-brainer. I'm so familiar with it, but it's sort of the same thing. I'm always like, and then price point wise, where are you coming in? Are you coming in competitively to the potential paint and texture bid? They still got to hire a painter to come in and do things.
Right.
Do you have strategies for pricing where you're like, hey man, It's going to be the same price if you do this, X, Y, Z. And it's easier for you, if I'm not mistaken. You don't have to sand all day long. You throw in your 2 coats of Fresco, hit it with sealer, and you're done.
Now,
Price
like
point.
especially around here where everybody's trying to pinch pennies, I always try to keep the price just slightly above like a traditional finish and paint job. That way, I can sell it as, you're saving a little bit here, but at the same time too, you're paying a little extra for something that's, well, a lot more
Yeah.
fun than just looking at a flat colored wall.
Yeah, it should be more. It should be a little more. Now, like Cam, you have, and we'll do a little bit of history talk too. We'll get into your history in the trades too, because your episode was a long time ago, episode 7 or something, a long time ago.
Yeah, a couple of years, I think.
Yeah, I think 2 years. What was I going to say? Shoot. You, like Cam, have delved heavily into the custom color realm. You've planted the seed with me on custom colors. And do you use that as a strategy? And how do you charge? How do you offset that cost? Because it's a little more for custom colors. Chatosaurus, the latest color that you purchased it's a triple color pack. So it's a $64 color online. You're buying 4 or 5 or 7 of them or whatever. So you're paying extra money. How do you, first of all, it's a 2-part question. Do you run into that a lot with the designers? Is that a selling point? And then how do you offset that cost if there is one, or do you not even worry about it?
Kind of like how I done with the current customer was they went online and looked at the colors that they could pick from, and I was sitting there with them while they going through it, and he's like, "Well, what if we can't find what we want?" And I was like, "Well, I'll just call Nick up and say, hey, here's the paint code, and then I'll order it up." And of course, it always kind of gets them that we have a personal relationship where I can just call you up and be like, "Hey, this is what I need," and then I'll do the business side later. So yeah, they really like that, and then especially when you give them. You just tell them go to Sherwin-Williams and pick out whatever color you want. We'll do it. So I mean, it's kind of giving them the option of feeling like they can be in control, like if they were painting their walls. Where now it's like, hey, we're getting something even better, but we're still in control of whatever we want to do with the color.
So that's a selling point. I mean,
yeah. Originally, like when I would give people color charts, and they're like, "Well, what if I don't like any of these?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, we can do a custom color," and then. It seemed like it was a chore to them to pick it out, but I was like, it's just like go to the store, like you're picking out your paint colors, and just give me the paint chip, and I'll get it ordered up during a week. So, and then they also like the fact that you send that little sample so they can actually see it, being done.
Yeah, I think that's key. They could see the sample board next to the swatch. Like I just started doing that right away. It was like, I want them to feel comfortable. And here's my best interpretation, of this color. Do you charge extra for this? Kind of a pain in the ass versus like them choosing a color right from the color chart. Do you charge extra for that? Is it a pain? What's the story?
I kind of, me and Scott do this a lot. We kind of fill people out as far as like, how, I guess, willing they are to spend a little extra versus how tight they are with their money. So usually with people, it seems like they're on the fence a little bit. I'll be like, hey, I'll just go ahead and pay for the custom color, but I'll end up, I done it on this one here. I paid for the custom color, but then I'll charge like the same square footage price, but then also charge for the color packs on top of it. So it's kind of like I get my custom color money back, plus I'm still, making money off the product and the labor.
Okay. Interesting.
And most of the time I do these jobs when I got the guys working on a new house, or maybe I'll just take like a Saturday and go get one started. Just basically for me, it's more fun. So it's not that big of a deal if, I'm taking a little extra time to do some side jobs. So I love it. I mean, yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's just,
I
start
agree.
spreading that color. It's great.
Yeah. I agree. I do enjoy doing them still. I don't get to as much, but, I'm looking forward to Canada. But that's going to be a lot of fun going up there and doing Fresco Harmony in Surry with a bunch of people. Got Gilbert's taping, Gilbert girls, we got Teak, we got Sean, Chad, Wes,
Yep.
Cam's person,
Yep.
Cam, Danny, Moody, Aaron of Columbia Tools, just a host of characters that should be quite a bit of fun.
Oh yeah. Lots of personalities in there.
Yeah, and you did not go to Intex or sorry, AWCI Build 24 this year.
Nope. I was going to, but since scheduling with Surrey got pushed back, it made it harder around here to take off, which
Yeah.
last few weeks, which I, I'm sure you saw a few weeks ago, we had, I think, what, 5 houses in 8 days, and I had 6 guys just running constantly. So yeah, it just got real crazy, and then it's getting
Yeah.
crazy again. But me and
Yeah.
Scott's helping each other out, getting everything going. That way I can just take off and not worry about it.
And so Scott, what company, what's his company name?
It's Burton Drywall.
I used to work for Scott, right?
Oh yeah, a long time ago.
Long time ago. Okay, so he kind of got you. Would you say that he got you your start in the trade?
See, originally I worked with his brother years ago for basically a second full-time job, extra money. And then
Okay.
got out of that, and then got back into it with Scott a little bit. And then a little along the way, I kept getting the itch. I just wanted to keep doing it. So I finally just quit the factory job, went to work with another friend of mine building houses.
Which
And little by
factory?
little,
Was it the Hershey's factory there?
no, there's a cabinet factory in there in detail.
There's a Hershey's factory that I passed, right?
Yeah,
I
they're in
think
Robinson.
I think I passed by a Hershey's factory.
Yep, that one's on the way to the Hollywood job.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
Eh,
but no, when I finally got out on my own, Scott was the one that really put me out there a little more because I was kind of taking on some of his overload, doing some stuff he couldn't get to. And then little by little, I was getting noticed out there too. And then, of course, we just kept talking about everything that's going on, like in our area, because we were, basically 2 out of 4 finishers at the time. That was decent. But now there's like only 3 of us. So the 3 of us all kind of work together and try to keep everything in our little circle. And at the same time, too, it helped us keep the market value up too. Because we've had a few people come in, it's like 30, 40 cents a square foot less for finishing. We're just like, no, I was like, we're not doing this. So we just draw them
Yeah.
in. So I've recently done that. I drew another one in and it's like, hey, just keep raising your prices, man. It's like, we're all doing it. We're all busy.
Yeah. Yeah. And rightly so. We've never been compensated. I don't think the drywall industry has ever been compensated properly for the work that we do, the amount of energy and labor that it takes and skill to
Oh,
do
yeah.
this
Makes the
trade.
old foot.
So yeah, yeah, even just finishing, man, it's hard work. As most will attest. Cool. Where are we going to go from here? Oh, I would like to talk about because you're friends with Jay-Z.
Interior.
I'm always open to I'm
Zuki.
always open John Zuki, who was
Zulki.
on an early episode of the Drywall podcast as well. We need to check back in with him, but I'm always open to plaster systems. You straight off and you started doing some different plaster systems. Give me some pluses and minuses. It seems like you came full circle. You were reluctant. I remember you were reluctant. Should I tell Nick? I'm kind of cheating on him with these other products, this and that. Like I was like, I don't give a shit. And part of me was like, go try him out, dude. And
Right.
so I was kind of inclined to letting you just, I'm always inclined to, okay, just go do it. I'm curious to hear what you think. And I've been approached by people to try plaster systems, and I'm like, fuck that. It can't be easier than doing, you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm competing against my own product, but I'm curious about your experience, pluses and minuses with various plaster systems versus Fresco Harmony.
Well, it's first off, yeah, it's different types of finishes are extremely labor intensive. Like you see the marble looking walls that are really shiny.
Yeah, they're
That takes
beautiful.
something. Oh yeah, and it's I tell you what, the first time I successfully made one of those samples, that was a pretty good feeling because it just like
Yeah,
it's just really cool, and It's once you learn how to do it and get the timing down, it's pretty simple. But yeah, it's all about timing and the temperature of the plaster you're working with. Is you can
Okay.
either really roll it up or you just scratch it up. But yeah, that stuff's pretty labor intensive. Actually at the Hollywood, that big long bar, I done that on the bottom in black. That's
Right,
a
right.
I got done. I was sitting there just doing this all day, and I got done my arm and shoulder, my elbow. I was in pain, but it looked good.
Yeah,
But
it looked great.
it was extremely expensive too.
Okay. Okay. So now
Uh,
where are your plaster price points coming in versus the Fresco Harmony? And do you oftentimes give people a choice when you're selling?
uh, Again, that kind of goes back to the type of customer, how I feel, what they want, what they might be willing to pay. 9 times out of 10, I just go straight to Fresco because
Yeah.
most people around here just don't want to pay the extra money, which I understand that. It's a low medium income area, so but I got a few of them. They just come right out and ask for
Yeah.
it. One house I done recently, right before the Hollywood project, I done Venetian on their fireplace, and it was a just a flat finish.
Yeah.
It was pretty nice. I mean, I kind of liked it the way the design of the surrounding area really pulled it out. But see, what was a couple months ago, I went over to Indianapolis to do a fireplace over there, and they specifically asked for Venetian. And then he kind of sat there and he's like, but I don't know what kind of Venetian. I was like, okay, well, take a look at this here. And I sent him pictures of the Gautier Still
Yeah.
Fresco. And he's like, oh man, I love that. And I was like, all right, cost you $1,000. And he's like, cool, come on over. It was
Okay.
just like an 8 foot tall fireplace, 5 foot wide. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it turned out great too. And he's got a contractor over there. He's been in constant contact with me. He's trying to set me up about a bunch of work here, maybe this summer and fall.
Okay.
So it looks like I might be hitting a little market over in Indianapolis.
Right. How far a drive is that for you?
A little over 2 hours.
A little over 2 hours. Cool.
But yeah, the last time I went there, I just went for that fireplace. But I knew it was kind of, some people kind of say it's silly just to go do a fireplace, driving 2 hours away and getting a hotel room for a couple nights. But
One
actually,
night.
what I done,
One night,
yeah,
right?
I was gonna say
Yeah.
that's what I done. I just got one night, so
Yeah.
I got there early in the morning, put the base coat on, put fans
Yeah.
on it, went out to eat, went to Topgolf, hit some golf
You
balls.
took your wife. You took your wife. So it's like
Yeah,
your whole trip is paid for and you come home with like $500 in your pocket.
yeah. I mean, by the time it's all said and done, I came in with $500 more than I left with. I got paid to have a good day and a half. So
Yeah.
I think I spent maybe like 5
6.
hours total on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, those two fireplaces I just did were 8 hours, 800 a piece. You know,
$100 an
took me,
hour.
yeah, it took me about 4 hours to prep. And people might say, "Oh, you're making too much." It's like, no, go get a plaster bid. So not only am I making good money to do it, nobody else does it, and I'm paying 2 color packs. I think was total on that whole one. I maybe got into a little bit of the second bucket. There might
Right.
have been, that much left of the second bucket, and then 2 quarts. Even if I bought a gallon of sealer, I'm in $150, with the mud. Who cares? You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those little ones I really like. Like those are, and then the one I did recently with the stripes, the Praha finish and the sky ceiling, 8 hours. Did that. I didn't mess around. I could have dinked around with that sky a little more, but it's no big deal. No big deal. That's a fun one. Those are fun ones. That finish is fun. And I was going to ask you too, if you've tried the sand yet, the sanded Fresco Harmony finish.
Yeah, actually, when not too long after you left, I took Sean and Cam with me over to FAN, which is an hour in the other direction. We had a big lake house out there. The guy wanted a sand texture on his walls, but he didn't. He had specifics how to do it. And the only way I could do it was with Fresco, but he wanted it extremely smooth too, so no lines, no nothing.
Yeah. You can
So
smooth that shit right out, can't you?
well, that's the problem. Every time we was getting real close, it start rolling on us. But I think if we would have tried maybe like spritzing it a little bit when it was starting to tack up to loosen it up. But
Were you, when you put it on, were you like going through and like smoothing it out? Did you have like a dude smoothing it out?
we was actually rolling it on.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
We was rolling on, and then between the three of us, we kept trying different ways to make it look smooth. And Cam ended up leaving that day, but the next day, me and Sean came back and we tried everything we could. We just couldn't make it look uniform. I mean, we got it nice and smooth and no lines,
Okay.
but then it started getting to where, we were getting blotchy spots. Some areas that look, a little less dense, and other areas is starting to pile up. But as like
Okay.
we just finally got to a point where, it was a first time I had a failure on something different. Because I mean, it was
Interesting.
to
Okay.
me, it was something different, but uh, yeah, I just we sanded it back off, and
Yeah.
the guy was very understanding. I mean, I really appreciate it, and he still wanted to pay me for my time. And I was like, no, it's like my
Okay.
idea failed, and I'm just
Yeah.
gonna fix it for
That's
you and just call it even.
good for
And yeah, I'd
you.
like to have been got something for my time, but like I said, it was just an idea,
Did
and
you guys
didn't
try?
work.
Because there's a couple different ways you can do it. Did you try? And if you're listening, we're talking about there's a finish you can do with Fresco Harmony where you add 28 ounces of fine silica sand. And what it does is it kind of creates like a micro cement or a really fine, uh, almost
Plaster.
like a structolite. Yeah, it has a really plastery looking feel. But I mean, even like plaster's not totally smooth. If you look down a plaster wall, it's smooth to the touch, but it has
Right.
contour. It has contour. It's not like, it's not like level five. I mean, I think
No,
you can only get true level five with drywall finishing. But that said, when we do it, there's two different ways to do it that I've seen. You put on that layer and we never roll it because you're kind of that mud's tacking up when you roll it on and you go to trowel out. You're not getting quite enough mud on the wall and it's tacking up a little bit when you go to smooth it. So I would suggest just doing it by hand. But then as you work that wall, you can get it like pretty darn smooth, and then seal it, wait halfway. And when you seal it, it compresses that layer if it's like halfway tacky, kind of like wet floating structolite.
yep.
The other way is I've seen the dudes sand it. So you do your layer as flat as possible, let it dry all the way, and then you can go through and sand it, um, and then seal it after that. I don't know.
So, yeah, he gave me a piece of 220 grit sandpaper, and he said that's what he wanted his walls to be like exactly. And I was like, yeah. I just didn't. We just couldn't get it that smooth, anyways.
Okay, all right.
So
And
it was
not even with sealer, huh?
no. I mean, he is like the problem too was when we got it really smooth. Then we put the sealer on it, and it just kind of like smoothed it out a little bit too much. So it was kind of one of those things where there was a fine line, and we just couldn't hit it. So
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. You're
yeah,
gonna
I'm sure it
get
was probably possible if we had more time, but it was one of those things where he's like, I got to have it in like 3 days. And I was like, well, we got like other things going on. But yeah, he was a good customer. He's a good repeat customer. So
cool. And then in that situation, he just paints over it, right? No loss.
yeah,
Or you probably did you guys do another skim coat over the top and sand it?
I sanded it, and then I just actually took the same color mud without sand and just skimmed it real tight for him. Because he was just going to go ahead and paint over it with the same color. Because actually, that was the Brawley's chocolate.
Oh, there was that dark one. That's right.
Yeah. So, and
Interesting.
I think another problem with that job was see, it was 10-foot ceilings, and then the one big wall was 20 foot wide,
Okay.
all glass, all glass. So, I mean, any imperfection was just like bam right there at you.
It's all lit. It's like side
Oh,
lit.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
facing the lake. So you got you got all that natural light. You just
Yeah.
could not hide any imperfections or like blotchy areas. So,
Yeah, and if
and
you're
you,
listening, like Fresco Harmony's not supposed to be smooth, you know. I mean, you
no,
want a
no,
smooth finish, do a damn smooth finish, you know.
go buy some paint.
Yeah, go buy some paint. It's more about the look, like, and
Yeah.
if I'm looking straight on, and I saw photos of that project, it looks smooth, you know, to a layman's eye. But if like
Right.
my old house, we did Gallery Pearl, and we had a side lit wall, and I mean, you could see every imperfection, but I would still prefer that over a textured surface or even level 5 personally.
Even
We
with just regular drywall nowadays, I talk people out of doing textures. I just a lot of
Yeah.
people think like around here they do knockdown textures real popular. Everybody
Yeah.
thinks they think it protects their walls. I was like, nah, it just makes it more expensive when I got to come fix it later. And then it just don't look. Yeah, I just don't think it looks good.
Yeah, and
Now,
I mean
like
to that,
some
I would say
people,
Fresco's challenging to patch as well. It can be challenging to patch depending on the color and the system, but yeah, you're saying that texture, maybe depending on the texture, obviously, is can be more difficult to patch. What about
yeah, like
smooth finish though? Smooth finish is a bitch too, right?
nah, that's easy.
You don't mind patching smooth finish
Nah, that's easy. Just a
because you
little bit of hot mud, skim it in white mud, and sand it out, and you're done. But now,
yeah.
if I gotta patch a textured wall, I gotta basically mask everything off, get the patch done, and then I gotta bring in an air compressor, hose, hopper, and reshoot it. And you got more
Uh
time. You got more time masking off anything than
don't you
like.
use a little squirt can though?
That's crap. That's stuff. Just throw in the trash can.
Just throw it in the trash can. Save it for the DIYers, man.
Yep.
And then what about hand text? Do you have a lot of hand texture over there?
Not anymore. Say about 20 years ago, there was a lot of like crow's feet, sand swirls, stuff like that. But really,
Right.
right now, it's all smooth or knockdown texture, which for the most part, knockdown texture has been kind of stamped out. So for the most
Yeah.
part, we just do level 4 and paint.
Orange level 4 in paint. No texture. They're cool with slight imperfections.
There's no imperfections.
Yeah. Not with Chad's work, but maybe some of the crappier finishers.
Same time too, I got a lot of good relationships with painters behind me. So like if there are little imperfections, they'll be like, "Hey, watch out here next time," stuff like that. So I mean, it's kind of nice we can do that, and they just kind of fix little things. But for the most part, not tooting my own horn, but most of these guys prefer to paint after me. So to me, I think
Yeah.
that's like a little feather in my hat. It's like if I got painters saying, "Hey, you need to call this guy," I think that's a
Yeah.
pretty good sign that I'm doing something right.
There's been a couple people on the podcast that have mentioned having good relationships with the painter, establishing those relationships. So if there's any kind of issue, it's like, hey, dude, just call me, man. I'll come take care of it. Or, whatever. If I'm leaving something that doesn't look good, that's continuously causing you problems, just let me know about it and we'll take care of it. You keep looking behind you. Is there a phantom? Is there a ghost finisher back there working?
Well, I'm just kind of thinking lunchtime's getting a little long. They're out there at lunch. One of the fellas keeps
Oh,
going,
you're like, where the fuck's my crew?
yeah, one guy with his phone in here keeps going off. I'm just like,
Oh, funny. There's phantoms in there. Yeah, lunchtime. Did you
oh,
tell him like, hey, take a little bit longer today? I'm doing a podcast with Nick.
no.
No, no, no. They're
Nah.
out having beers. They're chugging down that second beer right now. They're trying to get 2 beers in before they come
Getting
back.
a high quality H2O, right?
And so where are you pulling these guys from? These are Scott's guys normally? How's that
No,
working?
I got my own two guys.
You have your own too, but you said you were running 6 guys. Is that with the hanging
Yeah,
crew?
yeah. A couple weeks ago when Mike he went out to Vegas with us last year. Him and his
Yeah.
guy jumped in to help out, and then I got Jesse Loss from a town called Wayne City. It's a little south of here. But
Okay.
between me and my two guys, Mike and his guy, and then Jesse Loss, we all just teamed up
You
because
throw in.
Mike had a big house, and then I had 4 all hit at the same time. So we just ran around taping, boxing, and then just yeah. It's actually the last 3 weeks has been crazy. I've been keeping track of what we've been doing,
Yeah.
and last 3 weeks we sanded out 7 houses and got 2 more started. And it was just like, and they're not small houses. I mean, they're still
Right.
10,000 board feet. So I mean, we're still hitting good chunks of drywall, but
Danny Moody could do all those houses himself in
yeah, hey,
four,
it
four
would have been
days.
really nice if he was
Four
here.
days.
I
Yeah.
could have just sat back and pulled up a chair and
Yeah, just watch
Hey,
him.
that's just all.
Just watch him zoom around on his hoverboard.
Oh,
Yeah, that's pretty good, man. What kind of days are you pulling at those with that kind of volume? Are you at tens
yeah,
or
we don't get too crazy. I mean, we still keep it
yeah,
like basically just kind of like a nice medium pace. I mean, everybody stays
yeah,
busy. Nobody's like killing themselves and getting tired. But
yeah.
yeah, we can see probably 4 out of 6 were pretty experienced and all pretty good
Okay.
finishers. So I mean, yeah, I mean, we had yeah, 3 companies together here.
Yeah.
So I mean, at least 3 of us were just like we had that mindset, just like everything's got to be perfect and we just got to keep moving.
How do you split the job up when you do it like that? Just
Uh,
or do you pay
Actually,
them hourly and then maybe they pay you hourly when you go to help them? How does that work?
basically what me and Mike done because there's a few days where Mike had my guys and
Yeah.
Jesse, and
Okay.
there's some days I was even on his job too, and then he was on mine. So basically, what we done, we just kept track of all our hours, and
Okay.
then when we got to the end of the 8-day stretch, him and I sat down, we got everything lined out, and then I said, okay, I'll just pay everybody, and then whatever's left over on your end, I'll just give you the difference. So
Okay.
so instead of him paying my guys to be on his job and then me paying his to be on mine, I just paid everybody. And then whatever he was owed for me for helping me out, I just gave him the difference. So that way
Okay.
he wasn't paying my guys and then I was paying him. It just became a big mess.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Totally. Very cool. And then I was seeing what else was I going to talk about? On one of your fresco jobs, we were talking a little bit in text form about seeing the seam. Now,
Right.
when I've done jobs, and we've even done patch jobs where you try to rush the quick set like on a patch and then fresco before it's fully dry, then fresco over
Right.
the top, you end up seeing that patch. So we've found it to be essential to let whatever tape and base coat dry fully before doing the base coat of Fresco Harmony because you might get flashing because
Right.
you're dealing with color. In the video that I saw on Instagram, and if you're not following Chad Hesher on Instagram, Hesher Drywall, what's your handle?
Yeah, just Hesser drywall.
Hesher Drywall. Go check out his stuff. It's pretty cool. Um, I saw that seam was staying
Yep.
dark like a little longer. I noticed it and I was like, I wonder how that second coat's pulling out. But I've also found too that sometimes it'll do weird stuff after the base coat. Then after the second coat, it might do some weird stuff. And then after the sealer, you don't see shit. So what's your experience with that?
Yeah, we had the same problem at the Hollywood when we was all there. Basically what it is Hollywood had a lot of moisture because of the old plaster and concrete plaster and the brick. Then like with the green, that drywall was actually finished probably 3 weeks ago. So it was completely
Okay.
dry. But kind
Yeah.
of like what I mentioned to you last night with all the humidity around here, it just everything retains a little bit of moisture. So like that base coat, it will flash. And it's usually on the flats because there's just more mud there than say like the butts.
Yeah.
But yeah, by the time that I can guarantee if I went down there now with that second coat dry, you wouldn't even see it.
Gone. I do find letting that base coat, like if you're rushing a fireplace like you did in Indianapolis, just go out. If I'm doing a fireplace or something small, go out, do it all, base coat, let it dry. Just leave the job, let it dry. Don't try to
Yep.
rush the base coat. Then you can rush the second coat. Second coat can be a little green when you go to seal. Doesn't hurt nothing.
Nope.
You know, these guys are trickling back in. Who do we got here, Chad?
There's
They're
Kenny.
Bring it on over. Bring it over, Kenny.
What's going on, buddy?
What's happening?
Swinging mud.
We got Kenny. What's your last name?
Cast. CST. I'm
Cast.
Yeah, I'm in every
Cast.
movie.
How did you get hooked up with Chad? What's the story there?
And we basically grew up together. Kind
Yeah, small town stuff.
of. Yep.
And why the fuck did you get a hoodie and I don't have one yet? That's my next question. I'm pretty sure Chad has one of my hoodies.
I do.
I used to have one of your T-shirts too. And I don't know.
You need another one, Kenny?
Yeah, a hoodie would be nice too.
What size? Well, hoodies are special. I don't know if you're that special. Who else do we got over there? Who else do we got?
Don't know.
Who are you?
Ethan.
What's your name? What's your name? How long in the trade, soldier?
Ethan.
Probably about 4 months.
Yeah. About like October, November.
Oh, a newbie. Wow.
Yeah.
How do you like it? Do these guys just have you sanding the shit out of everything constantly? Or are they giving you like some time on the tools and stuff? Are they showing you stuff or are they are they using you?
Yeah, I use the tools and everything.
And between you and me, are they paying you well?
Oh yeah.
Good. Sounds good, man. And it's Ethan?
Yeah.
What's your last name, Ethan?
Haley.
What tool did you start with?
Well,
6-inch now.
yeah.
No.
Start off spot and screws.
Spot and screws, of course, but no, which automatic tool?
What would that be?
He's running flat boxes and the angle box.
That was first.
And a screw spotter.
The spotter. Okay. And that's about it right now for now, the boxes and the spotter.
Yep. Angle box.
Is Ethan why the bazooka's not running properly now? Did he break it?
I don't touch it.
Don't touch that bazooka, dude. You get in trouble. Cool. Nice to meet both you guys. I got to wrap up with Chad here. Nice. And this house is, what's the square footage on this house? 1 second. Let me let my dog out. Bitch has been bugging me for 20 minutes to get outside. Okay.
Can't you see him doing a podcast here? Go lay down.
She knows. How big is this project?
That's about 170 sheets, full footers. So that'd be, I don't know how many square footage. I think the square footage of the house is about 2,400 square feet.
2,400. Okay, pretty good. And how long is this house going to take you to get it ready for? And how many accent walls are you doing in Fresco Harmony?
None.
Shit, man.
Yeah, wasn't in the budget.
Tell that builder you'll throw up a free one. Does this builder do Fresco sometimes?
Let's see here. I don't think I've done any for him.
Okay. Yeah. See, perfect, man. Be like, hey, I've got these colors in stock. This is what they look like. Throw up a Merriman beige accent wall, dude.
I was actually trying to sell it here, but they for some reason just want to knock down ceilings and painted walls.
Yeah,
it was just their preference, I guess.
Yeah, people are still.
They were kind of worried about price, anyways, because it's actually a total regut. But
right.
Thankfully, they caught me and Scott before they started tearing out walls because they were going to tear off all the old plaster and.
Okay.
There were some plaster walls, but then it had a bunch of old sand textured drywall.
Okay.
So, like me and Scott told us, instead of tearing all that stuff out and paying somebody to do it, it's like we'll just hang over it. So we just rehung the whole house over the existing drywall.
Wow. Okay. Crazy.
Otherwise, they just wanted us to float in all the ceilings too, and that's when I was like, "Hey, we can do Fresco," and they're like, "No, we just want a knockdown." Like, come on.
Yeah.
But I was like, "Well, if we're just going to do a regular knockdown, then I'm just going to call Scott and have his guys come over and just rehang everything."
All right. Cool. Chad Hesser Drywall. Look at Ethan's walking around on those stilts like a champ. Like it. So he's 4 months in and he's walking stilts. Sean Ramson can't even walk stilts, can he? God, what a score.
I think Ethan was around for maybe about 2 or 3 weeks before I put him on stilts.
Yeah, get on the stilts, dude. Otherwise, you're no good to me here. Very cool. And are you guys maybe listening to some episodes of the Drywall Podcast on your work day here today? Do you want any suggestions?
Usually we just turn the radio on.
Yeah. Have you listened to the Danny Moody show? That one's good.
I started to, and I haven't got back to it.
And then the J-Wall, that guy is a riot, man. That is a funny one. You put that one on. These guys will be hooked on the podcast if you put J-Walls on.
I'll try it out.
Cool. Pearl of Wisdom, Chad. This will be a little shorter show. Before that, I did want to ask. Are there any drywall adventures where you are looking to collaborate or bring people in to Newton to do a project, a larger project with maybe Fresco? Or I know that you and Glowjoy have had some collaborative conversations as well. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, Gloria and I still have a few things that we've been working on. We got her, Scott and I's got an estimate on a apartment complex up in New York City.
Cool.
Well, it's 2 hours north of New York City. I'm sorry. It's a pretty big project, but yeah, she's pretty much gonna coordinate all that. She got her own project managing team, and then of course, me and Scott might get involved on it.
And
So
you might want to turn that into an adventure type project where you have people fly in to help out.
That'd be her decision there, but I think for the
Okay.
most part, he's got a couple crews up there, and then
Okay.
but they're all hand finishers, so that's where she was talking to me and Scott, bringing in the automatic tools, and especially with something that large, you're going to need, and it's I think 6,000 sheets of drywall is what she said. So
Especially like apartment building, dude. You could just fly, fly.
we're going to need a few takers in there.
Yeah.
But actually, this summer, I do have a huge house. Floor space is 10,000 square feet.
Beautiful.
So that one's already in the works. I haven't got a set roster yet, but we already got a few people on it.
Okay.
Pretty sure, I know Sean's going to be here. I'm pretty sure Cam will be here.
Okay.
I've been talking to Colin a little bit. I think he's pretty excited. Well, he's only 2 hours away, so.
Sellinger.
Yep.
Yeah. Is that
Yeah,
elite? Yeah.
Yeah, that's Elite
Okay.
Drywall.
Very
And
cool.
of course, I got a couple local guys too, but then I've been talking to Allison Gilbert here a little bit, and
Okay.
she's interested in coming here sometime, which I got a couple other big houses, so I might have the Gilberts down sometime,
That'd be fun.
which we'll be talking about that next week in person. So
Cool. Yeah.
that'd be kind of cool to tape with them. So
Oh,
they got
definitely.
that whole, French Canadian method that just really boggles my mind.
The French Canadian method.
Yeah, they do knife and trowel.
So
They
good. So
Yeah, you just
good. I
watch
watched
this.
watch those
Amazing.
guys you've watched some of Jay Wall's videos, maybe. They're just love watching those dudes with the hawk and trowel, and Steph Abbott, Teak Interiors.
Yeah.
So good, so fluid. I love watching that stuff, man. Nothing like Ethan, but they're pretty good. Chad, I don't think I've seen a person spot screws quite like that. And if you want to watch the video version of Chad's interview and Ethan tear up these screws, you can go to our YouTube page and watch this interview in its entirety there. Chad Hesser, Hesser Drywall, Hesser, right?
Yeah. We've had this conversation before, Nick.
Hesher's like a rock group. It's like a rock group. That's why I always wanted to say Hesher. I think there was a rock group called Hesher. I like Hesher better, but the correct
I've been
pronunciation
called worse. So.
of Chad's name is Hesser Drywall. Okay. And out of Newton, Illinois, pearl of wisdom for these two characters helping you out today and our listening audience. What would that be for the drywall community?
Just keep pushing forward. Doesn't get easier, but yeah, just stay determined, stay persistent.
Yeah, I like it. What did he say?
Just keep looking up.
That's
Yeah.
all in.
Look up, head down, move forward, and look up. Keep shuffling along. Keep shuffling along. What do you got Kenny do? Is it Kenny?
Yeah.
What's he doing? He's just off camera, like he's picking daisies over there.
He's picking
What's
three
he
ways.
doing? Finishing up his lunch. Finishing up some lunch. Having a snack. Cool. Thank you for your time today, Chad, Ethan, Kenny. Appreciate you guys. It looks like you guys are having a lot of fun over there. I wish I was there. Not really. But you guys check out Jay Wall's episode of the Drywall Podcast. Fire that up, Chad. It's a funny one. You'll thank me later. But I hope you guys have a fantastic day, man. We'll talk soon.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Cool. Thanks, Chad.
Yep. We'll see you.
Special thanks to Chad for being with us on the Drywall Podcast today. That was a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Canada very soon. More to come from that great Rocky Mountain adventure. Tune in next Friday when I go live on Instagram with the Gilbert Taping Girls. This episode will also be available on all of your favorite platforms, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, YouTube, and also Google Podcasts. Guests of the Drywall Podcast will receive a sweet swag bucket from our friends over at CSR. I'd also like to give one last shout out to our friends over at GWI in Swindon, England, for not only supporting the Drywall Podcast, but also supporting Fresco Harmony. They have been huge allies to me and allies to the trade, and we appreciate them for that. I hope that you all have a fantastic weekend, and remember, keep drywalling.